Welcome to the demonstration video for myHEALTHware's complete document management solution. Save your staff time by utilizing this completely integrated solution to efficiently manage your documents electronically, including inbound and outbound faxes.
Now, myHEALTHware Fax allows your clinic to receive faxes electronically and securely into a central inbox where your staff can efficiently manage the faxes. You can then annotate and reorder the faxes. You can import them directly into the patient's chart, eliminating the needs for scanning the faxes into SOAPware. You can also send faxes outbound directly out of the patient chart through myHEALTHware Fax. You can combine or collate the documents and annotate or redact sensitive information before sending a fax out. If you're currently using UpDocs with SOAPware, we've built in an easy-to-use fax setup wizard that allows you to port your existing UpDocs number to use in myHEALTHware. If you're currently using a landline fax number, you can also port your existing fax number for use in myHEALTHware so that there's an easy transition and no changing of your fax number for your clinic. myHEALTHware Fax allows for unlimited staff users, so you can allow all of your staff or only a designated few to manage your incoming and outgoing faxes for your clinic. So we're going to start by taking a look at the workflow and the features that are available for inbound faxing into myHEALTHware Fax. So I'm going to switch over to SOAPware here, and we'll take a look at the myHEALTHware Fax interface. Now, once you have installed the myHEALTHware Fax system, you will have a new tab in your myHEALTHware at the bottom under the myHealth panel. When you click on the Fax tab, you'll see your fax inbox. You'll notice that it also shows us here with a little label or button that we have an unread fax in our inbox. Currently, I'm taking a look at my incoming faxes. So these are all of the faxes that have come into the clinic recently. I can modify my inbox view if I'd like to view maybe my sent faxes. If I want to view just my unread faxes, I can filter my view by that as well. This filter also allows me to view all faxes. So if I wanted to view, absolutely every fax that I have, including my drafts, my sent, my received, I can do that. I also have the ability to review my draft faxes. We're going to take a look at draft faxes a little bit later in the webinar today, but that is a really helpful tool to allow you to combine faxes before sending them. We can also view any archived faxes. Archived faxes are those that you have filed or marked as archived. A lot of clinics will want to archive a fax rather than delete a fax. Deleting it actually removes it completely from the system. If you archive it, it saves it into this archive folder so that you can access it in the future if needed, but it does remove it from your inbox view. And then you can also view failed faxes. So if you have a fax that you were attempting to send that failed for any reason, it will be flagged as failed, and you can view those here with the failed filter. Now we're going to go back to our received filter so we can see all of those incoming faxes coming in. And let's take a look at some of the actions that we can perform on this fax, this top fax here that we've received. Now if I highlight the fax, you'll notice that it tells me who it was sent from. Now I've got this clinic stored as a contact in myHEALTHware system. So it shows me that it came from the West Street Family Clinic, but I can hover over their name and it shows me the fax number that it was sent from as well. If you do not have the contact stored in the system, like this one here at the bottom, it will show me what fax number the fax was received from. It shows us the number of pages. We have a little icon here. If we hover over it, it tells us this is a received fax. Shows us the date that this was received and the size of the file. We can also see thumbnails of this fax, and if I hover over those thumbnails, it zooms in for me. This is really helpful for your staff members that are managing your incoming faxes because they can hover over the thumbnails to see which patient this is related to or how this fax needs to be routed within the clinic. We do have some options here for this zoom in. You can turn this off if it's not a feature that you like. You can turn that off so it doesn't zoom in when you hover over the fax. Or you can also set it to a delay so that you have about a 3-second delay before that zoom in appears. So let's also take a look here at some of the actions that we've got over on the right-hand side of our screen. Now, when I highlight a fax, you can see that it turns the background of that fax kind of a light blue color. So that tells me which fax I have selected. My Actions menu appears over here on the right-hand side of the screen. And we're just going to go through each of these actions and take a look at the features included with them. So the first action I have is to view the fax. If I click on View Fax, it's just going to open up that fax for me in a larger view so that I can see a full size of the fax and scroll through it. Now up here in the top left-hand corner, I can go back. So if I want to go back to my inbox, I can just click on that back button and it will take me right back to my fax inbox. I can mark this fax as unread or read. So if that's a feature that you like to, kind of use that to filter your faxes, you can do that as well. The next action is to edit the fax. So this is really helpful if you need to add or redact information from the fax before you save it to the chart. So let's take a look at those features. I'm going to click on Edit Fax. That opens up this fax for me in a larger view so I can see both pages in my view. I do have the option here in the bottom left to zoom in or zoom out. So you can make it easier to read. You've got your undo and redo buttons as well. Now up here on the top, we've got some tools that we can use to edit this fax. The first tool we have is a pencil tool. I can change the color of that pencil. I can change the width of the pencil as well. But this allows me to just kind of mark up the document if I needed to circle something or underline something. I can do that with the pencil. I've also got a highlighter. I have some color choices here at the top. I can modify the width of this as well, but this allows me to highlight an item if I need to do that. I have an eraser tool, which I can change the width of. This will allow me to redact information or erase information from the document if I need to do that before saving it to the chart. I also have a typing tool. I can change the font for the type, can change the size of the font and the color. But if I click anywhere in the document, it's going to place my cursor, and I can put in comments or any text. So you'll notice I can click just anywhere in this document and type to add some text to the document. I also have a date and time stamp tool. I can change the font, the size of the font, or the format of the date and time. So we're going to go ahead and put in the date and time today. I can also choose a different color if I'd like to do a different color there. But I can just click to stamp on that date and time. You can also delete those if you added it by accident. Notice that once you get the text in here, you can resize it by just kind of clicking and dragging on those boxes on the outer edge. You can also rotate if you needed to rotate. You can also move the type or the edit if you needed to move that to a different location on the document. Now the next tool that I have is a signature tool. myHEALTHware allows you to store a signature into your profile of the account. So you can store the provider's signature or staff member's signature, and then this tool allows me to just stamp the signature onto the document. Once you get that signature on there, you can resize it, You can rotate it just as we did with the others, and you can move it to get it in the spot that you need it to go in. So those are your tools that you have on annotation. Another thing I'd like to point out is when you do add the signature, it also places a comment here at the bottom of the document stating that the document was electronically signed, and it puts the date and time that the signature was added. So now that we have made our edits to this document, there are a few different actions that we can perform from here. You'll notice in the top right-hand corner we have a menu item. Clicking on the menu gives us a few different options. We can save a copy along with our edits to the myHEALTHware Drive folder, which is your secure Drive folder within myHEALTHware. So if you wanted to save your edited fax, you could do that here. If you wanted to download this edited fax, you have that option as well. You can download to your patient's chart or also download to save a copy to your computer. Okay, so let's go ahead and download this to the patient's chart. We'll just click on download right now. So if I click on download, it's going to take a couple seconds to download that PDF document, and then it's going to prompt me with a question to let me choose to save this to the patient's chart or to save it to your computer. So if you needed to just save this like to your desktop or to a folder on your computer, you can do that. Most of the time, though, you'll probably be putting this in a patient's chart. So we'll select patient's chart here. The next prompt I receive is to open up my chart rack. So I can select the patient, and then it's going to ask me where do I want to save this document, what chart section in the patient's chart. So if you are a current UpDocs user, there is a difference here between UpDocs and myHEALTHware Fax. With UpDocs, you can only save to certain chart sections within SOAPware. With myHEALTHware Fax, you have the ability to save to any chart section within the patient's chart, including any custom chart sections that you may have created for your clinic. So I'm just going to save this particular one to the labs chart section for this patient. So we'll just click select. And then the next thing that appears is my task item for this document that I'm adding to the patient's chart. Another important thing to note here is that if you're using UpDocs, I don't believe you have the ability to modify who the task goes to. You can do that here with myHEALTHware Fax. And you can also rename the document before saving it into the chart. So once you're ready to do that, you can change the status of this if you need to. Just click Add. It will add the task and add the document to the patient's chart. So let's take a look at that and see what that looks like. We'll open up the chart here, and we're going to go into the lab section. And here is that fax that we just saved to the patient's chart. We can see the lab results here with our edits added. All right, so let's go back into myHEALTHware and look at a couple more of those actions. I'm going to go back to our menu here real quick. You'll notice that we also have the option to take this edited fax and send it as a new fax. So if we needed to modify this document, maybe add a signature and then send to, maybe we need to send to another consulting clinic or back to the pharmacy or wherever it might need to go, we can take that edited document and send it as a new fax directly from here as well. Once we're done, we can just click our back button, and it's going to take us back to the inbox. Now, the next action that we have on our list here is to archive the fax. As I mentioned earlier, you can place a fax into an archive folder. It will save it in your archived area rather than actually deleting it. You can save this fax to Drive, so that will allow it to be accessible in your secure Drive folder for your clinic. You can download the fax without making any edits. So if I just wanted to put this right into the patient's chart, I can click on Download Fax, and follow those same steps to put it in the patient's chart, and it'll do that for me without needing to make those edits to it. I can also print the fax. I can resend this fax, so I can take this fax that's come in. If I click on resend fax, it's going to go ahead and attach it for me to resend it. I can select all pages or deselect all pages, and I can just delete the fax. So I've got several options there. Now, as we were editing that fax earlier, we were working with the whole fax. But a lot of times you won't want to necessarily put the whole fax into the patient's chart. Maybe you only want to put 3 of a 10-page document into the patient's chart. So you can do that as well with myHEALTHware Fax. And we're going to use this second fax that I have here to demonstrate that. So from here, you can check the pages that you want to download to the patient's chart or to edit. And your actions, you'll notice over here, change a little bit. When we have pages selected, we have a few different options. We can rotate the pages. So if the pages come in upside down or they're rotated oddly, you can rotate left, rotate right, or flip the pages. You can also edit just these 3 pages that you have selected. So that you can mark them up or redact something before you place them in the patient's chart. You can save just those pages to your myHEALTHware Drive folder, or you can download just those pages to the patient chart without any edits. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll walk through that workflow of taking these 3 pages and putting them into the patient's chart. So I've got the 3 pages selected. I just click on Download Pages. It's going to ask me, do I want to put it in the patient's chart or save it to your computer? So we'll do Chart. From here, I can select the patient's chart, select the chart section that I want it to go in, rename it if I need to, select who it needs to be assigned to and the status for the task, and click Add. That adds that to the patient chart for me. And again, let's just take a look real quick at what that added. So I'll open up my correspondence in section where I saved that, and we see the 3-page document saved as a PDF document to the patient's chart. All right, so another thing I'd like to point out here is you do have this deselect pages option and select all pages. This can be really helpful if you're dealing with a very large fax. So let's say, for example, you get a 50-page fax into the clinic, but you only want to put 48 of the 50 pages into the patient's chart. Instead of having to select each of those 48 pages individually, you can select all pages and then just uncheck the 2 that you do not want to put in the patient's chart. So you have that option as well to reduce the number of clicks to select the pages that you need. All right, the next thing I'd like to show you is a feature within myHEALTHware Fax called tags. We've added in the tagging features to allow your staff to route faxes to people within your clinic or to place priorities on those faxes as well. So when you're working with tags, you'll notice that on each of my faxes here, I have a tag on one of these specific faxes here that says front office. So this allows me to tag a particular fax for maybe a group of people in the clinic that I need to handle that fax, or maybe I need to send it to one of the physicians so that they can review it and sign it. So this feature is going to allow me to do that. These are completely customizable, so you can set up your faxes with any, or your tags, with any label that you want them to have. So let's look at setting those up real quick. Now when I'm on my fax tab, if I am an administrator of the clinic, I'll have my settings icon here up at the top. If I click on my settings, I have a tab for tags. And you'll see that I've already got some tags set up here. but you can, manage these, and you can delete them if you've got something accidentally set up that you don't need, or you can add in new tags. Now, I've got my tags set up for people within the clinic, so I've got one for each physician. I have one for my front office and one for my nurses so that I can route the faxes appropriately. So that's one way that you can use these. You can also use these, for example, to create like an urgent tag to flag a fax as urgent. You do have your option of color choices here. So once you create those custom tags, you can save them, and then you're able to use them on the faxes as they come in. So we've got our tags set up. Let's go back to our fax inbox here. And maybe, we have this lab result that has come in for the patient. It's got a couple abnormal values on it, so we want the physician to see it. We can add a tag to the fax. You'll see that add tag right here at the bottom of each fax. And maybe we want to send this to Dr. Oates to review. So we can add Dr. Oates as a tag on here. And up here at the top, this is where you'll filter your inbox view by tags. Right now I'm seeing all tags, but maybe I am Dr. Oates and I log into my SOAPware system, and maybe as Dr. Oates I only want to see the faxes that are tagged for me. So I can use this to change my view to only see those faxes that are tagged for me. So you can see that now my inbox is only showing me those faxes that are tagged for Dr. Oates. Now maybe you're also, maybe you're one of the front desk staff members and you want to see faxes that are tagged for you and also faxes that are untagged so that you can manage those and tag them for the appropriate people within the clinic. So we do have that option as well. You can view multiple tags at one time. Maybe you only want to see the urgent faxes. You can do that. Or you can just check to see, again, all tags. So you have a variety of options to kind of filter out your inbox view so that you only see, what's important to you. Now that we've looked at the features available for inbound faxing, let's go ahead and take a look at the integrated features that are available for outbound faxing in myHEALTHware. All right, so I'm going to open up a patient chart here, and we'll look at those outbound faxing features. So I'm going to open up my SOAP notes section here, and let's say, for example, that we want to fax a copy of, let's take this SOAP note here. We want to fax a copy of this SOAP note to a clinic another clinic. So you'll notice within SOAPware, under each chart section, you have a myHEALTHware icon. You may already be familiar with using the myHEALTHware icon to attach documents to a secure message within myHEALTHware. With the latest version of SOAPware, when you click on that myHEALTHware icon, after you've installed myHEALTHware Fax, you'll have the option to send this document as a fax as well. So if I click on Send as Fax, it's going to ask me, do I want to send the entire document, or maybe if there's several pages here, I just want to send a couple pages or a couple tabs, or maybe just one page of that document. So I have the option to select that here. I'm just going to do entire docutainer. There's just one page for today. So we'll click on Send. It takes that SOAP note document and attaches it to this fax, and here's my new fax window. So from here, I can type in the number, or if you have that contact saved within myHEALTHware, you can just type in the name of the contact, like the clinic name, for example, West Street Family Clinic. So you'll see that as I type in that contact, it brings up the clinic name and the fax number. I can select that contact for who I want to send this fax to. Now I have the option of including or not including a cover page. If I want to include a cover page, I can type a message on that cover page. Once I'm ready to send this fax, I can just click on Send Fax, and it will send it for me. Now, if I wanted to review that sent fax, I can go back in myHEALTHware. I can change my view to my sent faxes. And then we'll give it just a second here. You'll notice you'll also have a refresh button here at the top. So if you ever need to refresh your screen, just keep in mind that's there at the top. Now here's my fax that I just sent from the chart. You'll notice it's going to bring my thumbnails up for me so I can, again, see a snapshot of that if I need to. This is what the cover page looks like. You can customize this, put your own logo, your own address on it, of course. We can see here the comments that I added to the cover page. In addition, here's the document that I faxed. So that SOAP note that I faxed will give you just a kind of snapshot view of it here. So this is a sent fax. You'll notice, again, I have my options over here on the right side. I can print that fax if I need to. I can resend it if it failed. I would have the option to resend it. So you do have those options here as well. Now, with that example, we looked at sending a fax of just one document out of the patient's chart. But let's say, for example, that you need to send maybe 3 or 4 things from the patient's chart along with a letter that you've written. So we can do that as well with the integrated features within SOAPware and myHEALTHware Fax. So let's say, for example, we're sending this patient for a consultation and we want to send a consult letter from our document designs. We want to send a copy of the most recent SOAP note, maybe a copy of their recent lab results, and their demographic information. So we want to take each of those pieces out of the chart here and send them by fax to the consulting clinic. So we can do that very easily with myHEALTHware Fax. I'm going to go into my document designs here, and I'm going to send this consult letter. You'll notice within document designs I have a myHEALTHware button as well, so I can choose to send this as a fax. Now within your document designs, if you have questions on those or things that you need to fill out before it gets to the fax, you'll be prompted to do those just like if you were printing it off. So I can select those, that information there that I need to. It's going to bring up that fax window. But I'm not ready to send this fax yet. I actually want to attach this with some other things from the chart. So instead of clicking on Send Fax, I'm just going to click Save Draft. And that's going to save it so I can combine it with some other things from the chart. So I'll click Save Draft. Maybe the next thing that we need to send is the patient's demographics. So I can go here to my demographics, choose Send as Draft, and then we're just going to click Save Draft again because we're not quite ready to send the fax yet. Maybe I also want to send another SOAP note, so let's find the SOAP note here that we need to send. Click Send as Fax. Again, we're going to save it as a draft. And then maybe lastly, I want to send these lab results. So we'll send, let's see here, the CBC. We'll choose again, Send as Fax. And again, we're going to save the draft. So now we've got all of those documents from the patient's chart saved as draft into myHEALTHware Fax. Now on my filter here, I'm going to go into my drafts, and I will see those 4 drafts that I just saved from the patient's chart. You can see them here. Now from here, I can select each of those pages that I want to send and create a new fax with. The order that I select these in is the order that they are going to be combined in the new fax. So if I want to do, maybe my consult letter first, and then maybe I want my demographics, and then maybe the labs, and then the SOAP note as the final page. Again, the order that I select those in is the order that it will be created in the new fax. Now also keep in mind that, maybe you have a really large fax as a part of this. Like maybe there's 30 pages here in this first one. You don't have to click each of the 30 pages. You can do your select all, and then come here and check the other pages. So now that we've got our pages selected that we want to send in this fax, we would just click Fax Pages. You could edit those pages if you needed to before sending the fax. If you needed to place some comments on them or add a signature before sending, you have that option as well. But we're just going to fax pages. That's going to take each of those pages, create one PDF document out of those pages and attach them to this fax. Then we can type in our phone number or our contact that we want to fax to. We can include or not include a cover page. We'll include one for today. And once we're ready to send this fax, we can just click Send Fax. That's going to send the fax. Let's take a look at it here by going into our Sent folder. We can see that fax generating at the top. Then we can hover over this icon to see that it's sending. Once it has sent, it will show a status of delivered, so you do get that confirmation that it's been delivered. It tells us who we sent it to, how many pages we sent. We can hover over each of the icons here to just see a snapshot of those, of the fax. So we see our consult letter here. We can see our demographics that we sent. We see that SOAP note along with the lab results. Now this is in our Sent folder, so from here we can take additional action on it if we need it. If we don't want to keep it in our folder, we can just delete the fax. So I'll do that now to show you what that does. So we just click on Delete Fax. It asks us to confirm the deleting of that fax. And once it's deleted, it's removed from that inbox or sent box. So that makes it really easy to send faxes and receive faxes, place them into the patient's chart, eliminating the need for paper, ink, toner, as well as actually a physical fax machine. You can do it all electronically. So now that we've seen the features for myHEALTHware Fax, let's talk about how to transition your faxing system. So you're going to have two options when setting up myHEALTHware Fax for choosing your fax number. You can either use an existing fax number or you can create a new fax number in myHEALTHware. Now, if you want to use an existing fax number and you are currently using UpDocs with an UpDocs fax number that has been previously assigned to you, we have an installation wizard that will allow you to just simply port that UpDocs fax number right over for use within myHEALTHware. So the porting process for that is immediate. I would recommend that you clean all of your existing faxes out of UpDocs prior to initiating the porting of your fax number, because once you port your number from UpDocs, you will no longer be able to log into your UpDocs system. Now, if you're using a landline fax number, we can also help you port your current fax number to be used in myHEALTHware. So for help with porting your landline fax number over to myHEALTHware Fax, feel free to reach out to our sales or training team here at SOAPware, and we'll be glad to help you with that process. The process of porting a landline fax number can take up to about 14 days. Now, your next option is to create a new myHEALTHware fax number. Many clinics are choosing to select this option because they wish to maintain a landline fax number while also having access to the electronic faxing system in myHEALTHware. So if you choose this option, I would recommend that you select a new number in the myHEALTHware Fax setup process. You can then contact your fax carrier and ask them to forward all of your incoming faxes to the new myHEALTHware fax number. Now with this setup, you're going to receive all of your incoming faxes electronically in myHEALTHware, but you'll have the option of using your landline fax machine or the myHEALTHware fax electronically to fax out. Now, when you install myHEALTHware Fax, you'll do so by clicking on the Marketplace icon in myHEALTHware. You'll have to be an administrator of your clinic's myHEALTHware account to complete the installation. After you install myHEALTHware Fax, you'll want to set up your tags, and you'll also want to import the physician's or staff member's signature into the profile so that those can be used within the editing tools. Now, with myHEALTHware Fax, you'll only pay for the number of fax pages that you actually use. The base price for myHEALTHware Fax is $50 per month, which includes 500 incoming and outgoing fax pages. So after your first 500 pages, each additional page is charged at a cost of 3 cents per page. So for example, if your average fax pages is around 2,000 pages per month, your monthly bill would be around $95 a month. So that's $50 for the first 500 fax pages, and then $45 for an additional 1,500 pages at 3 cents per page. So a total of $95 for that month. So to review, to install myHEALTHware Fax, you'll log in as an administrator, and then you'll click on the Marketplace icon over here on the left side of the screen. You'll click on your Clinic tab here at the top and select Install App next to myHEALTHware Faxing. Now, we've received lots of feedback on our pricing model from myHEALTHware Fax, and therefore we're making some changes to the pricing model. As of very soon, you will see these changes reflected on the fax plan screen when you're signing up for myHEALTHware Fax. However, if you're interested in purchasing myHEALTHware Fax today, and then you want to make sure that when you're selecting your fax plan that you do not purchase any additional blocks of fax pages, we are actually discontinuing the blocks of additional pages in favor of a simpler model of 3 cents per page. So this is creating a pricing model where you only pay for what you use, and there's no concerns about buying fax page bundles that you may or may not use over the month. You'll also notice here that it currently quotes 4 cents per page, but as I mentioned in the webinar, this is actually 3 cents per additional page over 500 pages.
Thank you for watching our demonstration video on myHEALTHware's completely integrated document management solution. If you have any questions, please call us at 1-800-455-7627, option 1, or email us at sales@soapware.com. You can also visit our webpage for more information at soapware.com/myhealthware-fax.